Most people can tell you what they did at their last job. They can describe the tasks, they can list the projects, but ask them what business process their work lived inside or what problem it solved, and they go quiet. That gap is exactly what costs people in interviews. It makes resumes read like duties, not a story of impact. Here's the thing. The gap isn't because you didn't do meaningful work. It's because nobody helped you translate it. You were inside the work every day, executing, problem solving, keeping things moving. You weren't labeling it. That's where AI changes everything. I want to show you how I use Claude, not to write things for me, but to help me see the story inside my work. Once you see it, you can speak to it in interviews, write it clearly on a resume, and explain your value. You can explain your value in language that leaders actually understand. Let me give you the full picture first, because this isn't just about impact. It's about three connected layers. Layer 1 is your experience, what you actually did. Layer 2 is the business process area your work lived inside. That's things like change management, financial controls, revenue operations. Also systems implementation, compensation operations. These are the functions of a business. When a hiring manager reads your resume, they're trying to figure out which of their business processes you understand and can improve. Layer 3 is the business impact, the outcome your work produced. And that maps to categories like revenue, cost reduction, also process efficiency, customer experience, employee satisfaction, market growth, or company growth. Most people skip straight from layer 1 to layer 3 and wonder why it doesn't land. The middle layer, the business process, is what connects your experience to their world. It's what makes a hiring manager say, "They've done this before," instead of "interesting background, but I'm not sure it applies. Here's how the prompt works." Open Claude, paste in 2 or 3 things you did at your last job. Just raw bullet points, no polish needed. Then ask Claude 3 things. First, what business process area does each one fall into? Second, what business problem was I solving? Third, what category of business impact did this produce? Was it revenue, efficiency, cost reduction, customer happiness? Also employee satisfaction, market growth, or company growth. Claude will map it out for you. And what comes back is not a made-up version of your work. It's a structured translation of work you actually did, now in the language every leader speaks. Let me show you what that looks like with a real example. Say you helped roll out a new point-of-sale system across thousands of store locations. Most people would write that as supported POS system rollout. That's layer 1. But when you run it through Claude, it surfaces the business process area, systems, implementation, and change management. And the business impact, process efficiency, cost reduction, and customer happiness, because faster, cleaner transactions affect the end customer too. Now, your bullet doesn't say supported a rollout. It says something like led systems implementation across 4,000 store partners, driving process efficiency and reducing operational errors at the point of sale. Same work. Completely different signal. Or take something like fixing a data routing issue where leads were going to the wrong sales reps. On its own, it sounds like a cleanup task. But Claude maps it to CRM data integrity and revenue operations as the business process, and revenue generation and process efficiency as the impact. Because those 40 leads a month that were getting lost, those were pipeline. That was money sitting in a broken workflow. Now you're not describing a fix. You're describing recovered revenue. That's the shift, and it's not about exaggerating. It's about accuracy. Most people understate their work because they're describing the activity instead of the outcome. Claude helps you close the distance between what you did and what it meant. Now here's the productivity side. Once Claude gives you that mapping, you don't stop there. You take the output and use it in 2 places. First, your resume. Ask Claude to rewrite your bullets using the business process and impact language it just surfaced. Tell it what type of role you're targeting: sales ops, revenue ops, enablement, process improvement. And ask it to write bullets a hiring manager in that function would immediately recognize. You'll get bullets that lead with outcomes, use the right functional language, and actually reflect what you did. Second, your interview prep. The most common interview question in any operations or enablement role is some version of "tell me about a time you improved a process." Or walk me through how you've impacted the business. With Claude's mapping in hand, you're not fumbling for an answer. You know the business process area your work lived in. You know the problem it solved. You know the category of impact it produced. You can structure your answer in about 30 seconds because the translation has already been done. This is what I mean when I say AI is a skill and for productivity. It's not about using AI to do your job. It's about using AI to understand your work better than you could see it while you were inside it. And when you can do that, when you can move fluidly between what you did, what business function it served, and what outcome it drove, you become a much more dangerous candidate and a much more credible professional. If you work in any role where you help other people grow, this is a tool you can put directly in the hands of your team. Teach them this prompt. Help them map their own work. Because one of the hardest parts of coaching, someone through a conversation is helping them see their own value clearly. Claude does that work in about 2 minutes. Check the comment section for the AI skill prompt and the AI productivity prompt, the one for mapping your experience and the one for turning it into resume bullets and interview answers. This is one of the most practical AI skills I've found for real career conversations. Try it before your next interview. Try it before you update your resume. Try it when someone on your team can't articulate their value and you need a place to start. Your work already has a business story. Claude helps you find it.